Hello, time travelers. Welcome to the Aging Journey podcast, an actual play podcast where we go back in time and play RP games themed around time and growing up in a variety of systems. I am your game master, Tanya, and this is The Red Bridge, a children's fantasy adventure using the Kids on Bikes system inspired by works such as The Phantom Tollbooth, Alice in Wonderland, Jumanji, and The Wizard of Oz. We are playing Kids on Bikes, a tabletop role-playing game that allows players to explore a mysterious and supernatural world set in a small town during the 1980s and 90s. Our players embody characteristics called tropes and roll dice based on their brains, brawn, fight, flight, charm, and grit. The higher the stat, the better their skill. Each player has a top stat where they roll a d20 and a bottom stat where they roll a d4. In this game, dice explode, where if you roll the maximum on a die, you get to roll again, infinitum. Our players for this campaign were made from scratch, and tropes are custom. There may be mature content depicted in our gameplay, but the players and I are using safety tools, and all content warnings will be in the description below. You can listen to the audio of the podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or the Aging Journey website, or watch it on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, join our Discord, or support us on Patreon. All links will be in the description. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Well, I think that wraps up the spiel. Enjoy the journey. You are now entering your freshman year from the only middle school in town. However, that doesn't mean you're gonna know everybody. In fact, because it's kind of canon that Shady Creek is booming, particularly in the last couple of years, you're actually gonna meet a lot of new people. A lot of new families have moved here. And then some families have maybe moved away, just as normal. You guys were the main friend group that knew each other. But even over the summer, you may have even met some new people. So some of the students that were at the Apple Harvest Festival, that may have been their first festival because maybe they moved into town with their families. So you're going to meet a whole bunch of new people. And so I should have already spoken to you about whether you know some people or whether you'll have connections with people from middle school. But you're joining high school as a freshman from a middle school where everyone goes to that high school. So we'll kind of essentially introduce kind of retconning in terms of if you know any of the people that are now in high school from middle school. But just to let you know, you'll actually be meeting a lot of new people as well as a lot of new adults, because as kids, you really only, work with the circles that are around you and your parents. But when you get to high school, you're going to meet way more adults because you guys are going to be able to, join clubs and have homeroom, and you'll have teachers. So you're going to meet a lot more of the community. Speaking of that, and so when I say you're starting high school, I do mean you're starting high school. You guys are going to have schedules, which I do actually have. You'll have teachers, you'll have projects and homework and field trips.
No.
I already have enough of that work. Why are you going to... I just want to graduate already. They're giving me more?
Give
Forever
me the fantasy horror, please. I'll take anything but homework.
More fantasy, less horror.
This is the horror aspect. You'll have bad lunches. You're going to interact with older teenagers now because you're now in high school. So back in middle school, you were really only working with maybe if somebody had a bigger brother, but now it's all older teenagers. So you'll be interacting with sophomores, juniors, and seniors who all kind of think that they're the main character of this adventure. So, so be careful with the NPCs you're going to be meeting going forward, because we are now also going to start revving up the mystery aspect. You're going to come in contact with a lot of new stuff, and that new stuff is going to bring a lot of information. So we already know that there's something strange happening in Shady Creek, but the summer was essentially just the tip of the iceberg. It was kind of the introduction. So we're really going to dig into the mystery in the rest of the arc, because it's supposed to lead you to, number one, needing answers. And then hopefully at the end of the session, you have your answers. Also, a few more reminders. So something we established in the session 0 is that the bridges lose color when they are not active.
Huh.
Right? Another reminder, Avaria is a sentient being. And again, we made canon that if you hold a piece of the game, you can commune with Avaria. So just a reminder that things that have to do with Avaria are grit-based checks. Okay?
So what you're saying is all those times that Caleb has been shit talking Avaria suddenly. How so
It
that's why
listed.
the bunny came after me because I shit talked the game.
These are just random reminders, no context or
Nothing is
importance
random.
really. Really given.
You have to be in wonder and to be terrified.
Another reminder is that most everything that has to do with Avaria is counted as a snap decision. It would very rarely be a planned action. And that is because, as I've said before, we made it canon that Avaria is telepathic and sentient and can transcend planes. So it can constantly be in your mind. Okay? Again, random fact that I'm just reminding everybody of.
I don't like the preceding events that are going to be happening. This sounds spooky.
What's Avaria anyway?
Right? And then as you all begin to like unravel the mystery of Shady Creek, keep in mind that as you learn more about the city and what's going on, if the wrong people start to find out about what you're learning or what you're doing, you might just find yourself between a rock and a hard place. So keep your head on a swivel, dig into the mystery, take big risks. I've been having a lot of fun. I hope you guys have been having a lot of fun. And let's go to high school. Hello, time travelers. Welcome back to the Aging Journey podcast, a Nargle campaign, The Red Bridge. Content warnings will be listed in the description. Let's introduce who we have at the table, starting with Trig.
Hello, I'm Trig. I'll be playing Caleb Mattentalk.
Hi, I'm NotQuietNormal, and I will be playing Jimmy Breach.
I'm M, and I'm playing Juke Baldwin.
I'm Bix. I'm playing Willow Khan.
And I am TanyaLashea, your GM. We began our Kids on Bikes adventure in the little big town of Shady Creek, 2 hours south of St. Louis, Missouri, sat between a city and an open prairie. Shady Creek features the pride and joy of the town since its inception, the infamous Crab Apple Harvest Festival, and much has happened in the short few weeks between Caleb's birthday, May 7th, 1996, and the town's Harvest Festival, which began on June 15th. However, now the summer is over. The crab apple season has ended, and the leaves are beginning to change from green to orange, yellow, and red as the season changes. However, our crew of juvenile delinquents haven't been sleeping this summer. Oh no. In fact, they've been doing the exact opposite. At the end of our last session, this year's Crab Apple Festival was a literal nightmare for 4 families here in Shady Creek. Our sly fox Willow broke into the Shady Creek Mall following the tail of a black rabbit. Our domino Juke Baldwin starts the now infamous local band, the Apple Nuns. Our scoundrel Jimmy Breach seems to have created a connection between this world and maybe another plane of existence, given what he sees through his eyes. And finally, our secret supplier, Caleb Mattentalk, has perhaps struck a deal he didn't even know he was making, opening a strange black puzzle box. We now move forward in time, skipping the last half of the summer after the events of the festival. But don't worry, we will be implementing flashbacks and retcons to learn how the rest of the summer went for our freshmen. But for now, I welcome you to Madonna High School. So, it is welcome week. First week of technically like your classes, but really it's like orientation week. And then at the end of the week, you really have like your first class. And that's probably going to be like an easy class, just a class for you to go to homeroom, get to know like where your other classes are and stuff like that. So it's going to be a fairly easy week, mostly for you all to like learn the school, learn where everything is, get involved in stuff here at Madonna High School. So we are at the high school courtyard. right where all of the buses line up. It's like a circle parking. That's what it is. There's also another line on the other side of the school where there's like a really long line of minivans and sedans and station wagons of all of the parents in town bringing their teenagers and preteens. They're all kind of like coming out of both the buses and all of the cars. And they are kind of gathering in the courtyard, which is kind of half outside and half under awnings. So there are places, there's like signs all over the place that kind of say, you know, welcome freshmen. There's a bunch of long tables that are set out with like blue tablecloth, which is the color of the school. The white signs say a lot of different things, but the main ones that you guys are interested in has the alphabet on it. So it says like A through C line up here, D through G line up here. There's also 2 other books. One has a sign that says, get your textbooks. And the other sign, which is like it's like a sign that's on a table that's under a huge awning in like the back of the courtyard. And it has a bunch of like smaller tables in that under the awning. And the sign says like sign up for a club. And then each of the club tables have like their own like person standing there and their own sign. The place is kind of packed. You guys didn't realize how many people were in Shady Creek until right now. It seems like the high school has like obviously the largest population of like teenagers and preteens and people who are still in school. And so it's packed, but you'd be able to move around pretty easily among the crowd. It's kind of loud, but you can kind of see that there's a bit of a sea of just the same type of student. So there are students who are clearly not freshmen, and then there are students who are clearly freshmen, and they kind of are half mingling and half like staying in those 2 larger groups. So how are you all arriving to school? Who's on the bus and who's not on the bus? Like, how are you guys actually getting on your first day? Let me remind you, though, that for your first day, at least, a parent or a guardian needed to have been with you. So just make sure that when you tell me how you got there, it makes sense.
If a parent needs to be there, I guess Caleb would get a ride from his mom.
They have a car.
Oh, yeah. If I remember correctly, they have a shared car.
I was about to say, I know that Michael is getting his car fixed, but I couldn't remember if your parents had a car.
I don't think Michael would want to.
Okay, so Caleb is arriving. So you are on the other side of the high school where the long line of cars are. Jimmy and Juke and Willow?
Juke's dad would have driven them.
Okay.
I think Jimmy would have biked in, and then his dad would have driven in later.
Okay.
Well, his dad would have probably driven her.
Okay. So then we'll say that Caleb, Juke, and Willow, you 3 are in your vehicles or getting out of your vehicles right now. And I would assume that probably Trig, your mom would, you know, like be in the car, but she would basically like, in fact, let's see what this would look like. Let's have Caleb arriving. Let's say you and your mom are in the car and you guys are in line, and this line is long, but you guys are almost at like the curb, like the side of the curb where you'll be able to get out. And even though you could just probably get out right now and just walk a little bit more, you can see that there are people like standing outside on the sidewalk that are like going around. And when you see people behind you trying to get out of their car, they're like, actually, we would prefer if you guys like stayed in and then moved up because, you know, this actually isn't like a safe area for this. And no, ma'am, please stay in the car. You can hear, you can hear like people who work there trying to keep people in their vehicles until they get to the designated spot where you're supposed to get out. Would your mother be, what do you think your mom is feeling in this moment as she kind of drops you off? What type of relationship do you guys have?
It's complicated, personally.
Okay.
We have this like sort of thing where, yeah, she's looking out for me. Yeah, she wants me to get like the most benefit out of a situation, so she'd want me to stay in the car for a bit longer. But at the same time, she has things to do, and just like anything, procrastination and wanting to do something is slowly starting to build up. So it's only a matter of time before she is going to suggest Caleb to, like, you know, get out of the car. We can go do this. And I gotta get going.
Okay. Let's go with that. You guys are in the car. She's just kind of like, you could probably just, sneak out. They're probably not paying attention. And literally the moment your pinky toe tries to step out of the vehicle, there's a young woman who's wearing like let's say it's a bright orange shirt, because that's the other color of the school. And it has like, maybe advisor on the back, or it has some sort of thing that basically says that she's working to make sure that everybody stays in. And she comes over and she's like, "Hi, good morning. Welcome to Madonna High School. We do need you to stay in the vehicle, however, until we get to the designated area. It's going to take 2 minutes, like 2 minutes." And she's looking at you, but also like looking through your window at your mom, like big smile, like white teeth, really wide smile. Like you can clearly see it's a stressful day, but she's keeping it together. But she almost looks like if somebody gives her one more reason why they need to get out of the car, she's gonna crack.
Now the best person, Caleb, is here.
Wonder who that person will be.
I guess Caleb seeing this is like, oh yeah, all right, I guess we'll stay in the car for like 2 more minutes. Cool.
Yeah, we are moving everyone as quickly as possible. Do not worry. We're so happy that you're here. And then she just is like, okay, bye-bye. And then she moves on to the next person. By the way, the next person behind you guys is also trying to get out of the car, and she looks exactly the same. She just goes, "Hi, welcome to Madonna High School. So we do need you to stay." You can tell that she said this many, many times today. But they also kind of stay in the car. And so after that, your mom goes, "All right."
Yeah, like 2 more minutes, Mom. 2 more minutes. That's about it.
And so she kind of grabs a big old packet that you maybe have been holding. And she just kind of flips through it, and she's like, "Okay, so medical records." She's just making sure that you have everything. Do I need to sign this? And it's like a consent thing that clearly says that your parent needs to sign it at the bottom.
Yeah, Mom, you got to sign right here. Just.
And she's like, "Do you have a pen? Do you have a pencil?"
Of course I got a pencil. Yeah. And he just grabs one out of his bag.
Okay, you give her a pencil and she signs it, and then she just kind of goes through everything else. And at this point, as she's just double checking everything, the line moves and she kind of hands it back to you as she like steps on the gas and gets to the part where you can finally get out. And you are there, and she kind of rolls down her window as like, let's say this is a taller gentleman who seems to have like, he has like broad shoulders and looks fairly muscular. He's also wearing the same bright orange shirt. And let's go with the trope here. He's also wearing a baseball cap and a whistle. I don't think anyone I don't think gym teachers actually used to do that, but we're going to say he clearly looks like a gym teacher in that way. So he kind of comes around your car onto your mom's side, and then she grabs the packet back from you as she rolls down her window, and she smiles at him and she says, "Good morning. Hi. I think I have everything here." And then she kind of hands it to him. And let's call this gentleman.
Oh wait, I have a name for a gym teacher if you want.
Sure. Go ahead.
I don't know if this is a nickname or not, but under my notes I have gym baseball coach Grunge Markholm.
Okay.
There we go. I guess he's gym teacher Grunge.
Interesting.
And gym teachers definitely do look like that. Out here, they all have that baseball cap and a whistle.
100%.
It is a definite thing. That is a canon thing. Just in little small country towns, they all of them for some reason have a baseball cap and a whistle. No matter what, you'll see them outside of school wearing that.
I have never seen that.
This is how they identify each other in the wild.
So, Mr. Malcolm, that's how he introduces himself to your mom, and he takes your packet. And he just goes, "Well, welcome to Madonna High School. Thank you so much. Who do we have here?" He kind of looks through her window at you. He's kind of leaning on the window, trying to stay looking cool. But he looks at you through her window.
Caleb just forces a smile, trying not to look disinterested. Caleb, nice to meet you, Mr. Markholm.
Caleb. So he kind of like nods his head, kind of like, nice. And then he looks at your mom. And then he kind of looks at the packet. I
Look at the packet
think
more,
this
buddy.
is. He really doesn't. He's kind of like barely looking at the packet, more looking at your mother. And he's kind of like, well, this looks great, Miss. And she, what's your mother's name again?
1 sec. Laurie, apparently.
Laurie. Okay. And he goes, Miss, and she kind of responds, Mrs. Mattentock. So great to meet you. And she kind of looks over at you and kind of gives you a look of like, seriously? Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
And then she's just like, okay, hun. So I'm assuming I don't have to pick you up. You can get home.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for driving me.
Yeah. You have your key, I think. So, all right. I'll have a good day. Hopefully everything's going to be good for you. If something happens, give them a fake number as usual.
Guess you do know me. All right.
Yeah. All right. And then as he still has his arm on her window and she starts to roll it up while he kind of gets pushed back and she's like, okay, bye-bye. And she continues on.
Caleb is giving a bit of a shit-eating grin towards Mr. Markham.
And he just smiles back to you. He doesn't get that hint at all. And so now, Caleb, you are officially in the wave of people on this side of the school. And so you can walk through like basically an arch and it gets you to the courtyard, but you can see through the courtyard from there. And so that is Caleb, Juke, and Willow. You guys are driving as well, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to say, Willow, your dad, he's a little bit more, of a friendly person, but I'll say that you guys were like maybe 2 cars ahead of Caleb's car. And so he had already kind of like pulled over and you had gotten out, but he also got out, which you're not supposed to do. And he is just chatting the ear off of one of the teachers that are there to kind of help. So I'll say that like you guys get out of the car and Caleb, as you get out, you see that Willow is kind of standing there next to her dad, and her dad is just having a full-on conversation with this woman who is trying to get him back in his car because he's holding up a line. So that's what's happening with Willow and your dad. And then Juke, let's say you are probably 2 cars behind. And so you guys are waiting, but you're moving. And your dad is also in his outfit because he's going to have to go to work today, but he did want to make sure to drive you to school. And so he is waiting there. And he also has your packet of information, except for it is obviously completely done, as it should be. It's in a nice like vanilla folder and you're holding that. And he kind of looks over at you. Do you want me to come with you? I actually know Mr. Benson. Do you want an introduction?
Who's Mr. Benson?
He was like, yeah, Mr. Benson. You've not met him? He was at the office party a couple of months ago. Did you go to that?
No, I haven't left the house in a couple months.
He's like, oh, maybe that was somebody. Oh, that must have been. Well, he's a teacher here, and he might be on your schedule. Depending on what schedule we get. So if you do see him or you do get him, let him know who I am. He'll take care of you. Do you have everything you need? Did you?
Yeah, I'm good.
And so he okay. Yeah, he basically is trying to get you to invite him to talk to people. Like he wants to schmooze a little bit. Totally. And
I imagine while waiting in line, he's been like pointing out people and being like, yeah, that's Fred Woodruff. I sold him a bungalow over on Main Street.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And as you guys come up to Mr. Malcolm, he rolls down his window and literally puts his whole hand out the window and like claps it with Mr. Malcolm. And Malcolm goes, hey. They're like clearly very friendly. And they kind of were just chatting, being like, yeah, so how do you like the place on Syracuse? It's good. Yeah. Now remember that the basement is going to need an inspection next year. Okay. Good. And so they're just going back and forth about, I guess, the place he maybe sold the guy that's now talking to him. Neither of them have really paid attention to you at this point. You can get out, but they're just going to chat.
Yeah, I'm out of the car.
Okay. Yeah, he's still talking to him, and he hears you get out of the car, and he's like, and he grabs the packet real quick and gives it to Mr. Malcolm, who grabs it, and then they continue to kind of chat a little bit, and he does kind of like yell out, you're like, all right, have a good day, let me know if you need anything, as you like if you like keep walking away.
Yeah. As
you get out of the car and close the door, and he's still talking to the gym teacher, you see Caleb who has gotten out of his car, and then you see Willow and her dad. So Caleb, this is like literally a couple of moments before Juke gets out of his car. When you see Willow, do you go towards Willow or do you go towards the courtyard?
Oh, 100% towards Willow. He doesn't care about school. Who is this guy?
Okay. So then Juke, you see Caleb, Willow, and her dad all kind of around this one like teacher, kind of like chatting on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I want to kind of scan the crowd in general. I'm kind of looking for... So, like, when last we left off, Juke had kind of, like, had a bunch of people who wanted to be his friend because of the Battle of the Bands, and then has had a month of no contact with anybody. So he's trying to, like, just get a feel for the crowd and see if there's anybody he needs to, like... Honestly, like, he doesn't realize it, but he's doing exactly the same thing that his dad was just doing.
Love it. So where you are right now is just where people have come out of the car. And so you can see everyone there, and then you can see through the arch that goes to the courtyard, and that's where all of the students are. So where you are right now, you see Caleb, and Willow and her dad, and then your car leaves and a couple of more cars come up and people get out. And then there are also a couple of people loitering around, like where the car area is. And then there's a bunch of people that as they get out of the cars, they just walk straight through the arch over to the courtyard. At first glance, you just kind of see a bunch of people. So as people like get out of the cars and like make their way to where they're going, they are kind of looking around, but they're not really paying attention that much. I would say probably at this point, not many people know who you are in the area that you're in right now. But that's because most of the people here are freshmen.
I guess I'll probably like wave at Caleb if I catch his eye and then head into the courtyard.
Yeah, Caleb waves back, a little surprised that, Juke's not going to come over to say hi.
You seem busy at the moment.
Okay.
I mean, I don't say that, but...
Under your breath, you're just like...
telepathically.
Yeah.
So then, Jimmy, you actually got there on your bike, which the bike where you would lock your bike up, like the bike racks, and they don't have skateboard racks. This is the 90s, unfortunately, but they do have like bike racks. That is in the front where the buses are. So you come right where like the majority of people are. And it's a bit of a madhouse over here. There are tons of people pouring off these huge buses. The buses are just, they just kind of continue to keep coming. And 20, 30 people are getting off of these buses, and huge crowds of kids with their book bags and, wearing all different types of crazy clothing. But you can really see like the whole student body from your vantage point of being in the courtyard area, but like being where the bikes are, so you're not in the middle. So from where you see, you can kind of see that most of the people are in the main courtyard area because that's where the tables are. They are all lining up in front of their alphabetical numbers. They're about to get like their stuff. They're moving on to the different like tables. And then everyone that's coming off of the buses, most of them seem to be upperclassmen. And so they're here and they already kind of know the process. So a lot of them are skipping some of the tables. A lot of them are like just hanging out. A lot of them are just like reconnecting with like old friends, maybe people they haven't seen over the summer. And so they're kind of congregating and kind of blocking, honestly, between like the buses and the tables, because they're just really connecting. They're not that interested in like doing the whole getting things together right away. That's kind of what you see. And because you're on the other end of the courtyard where like the entrance is, you can't even see the arc that goes to like the lines of the cars. So you wouldn't be able to see anybody coming from that area because it's crowded with people. So that's what you see. Where did you want to meet your dad?
I don't think Jimmy thought it through too much, so much as like, hey, we'll meet up at the school. So I guess he kind of just takes a look to see if he can spot his dad.
Okay. I'm going to say no. This place is crowded. However, if parents and children are like coming opposite, there is a booth that says like paperwork. So that is where he would need to go at least to drop off your paperwork.
I think Jimmy would kind of meander that way, but he's just taking everything in and just kind of enjoying the flow of going to high school. Yeah,
that's exactly what you do. Caleb and Willow, you guys are sitting next to Willow's dad. Finally, the young woman gets him to get back in his car and go home. And he kind of leans over to you, Willow. He's like, all right, well, I think I'm getting kicked out of here. Give me a hug. And so he hugs you and gives you a kiss on your forehead. And he's like, if you need anything, you know how to get a hold of me. If I'm not available, the school will have on record, Hildy's information. Have a great day. And then he gets back in his car. He also says bye to you, Caleb.
Always nice to see you, Mr. Khan.
Yeah, you kids don't get into trouble. And he's saying that jokingly because he thinks that Willow is a saint. He literally is like, huh? I'm funny.
Does not know that Willow broke into the mall during the summer.
Yeah. And he's like, all right, you kids have fun. Gets in his car and goes, and it's just you two now.
As soon as he leaves, Willow's getting a noogie. 100%. It's good to see a goober. It's been a while.
Kind of just like smacks me. It's like, no, not again. I thought I escaped you finally.
You're never gonna escape me. You think you can run fast enough?
Of course I can. I outrun you all the time.
And yet you always seem to come back for some reason. Strange. Feeling a little
Gummy
slow
bears.
now. Oh yeah, that's the reason. Speaking of which, Caleb's gonna pull out some snacks.
Snatch.
Can't believe it. Oh, come on. I don't get some?
You get one. And she just flicks one of the gummy bears at him. One.
Do you guys start to make your way to the arch? There we go. To the courtyard.
How crowded is it?
It's pretty crowded. But if you guys so where you're at, there's like an arch, so you can see through, but you can't see the full extent of the courtyard. You'd have to go through the arch and really see basically what Jimmy is seeing. Yeah, you wouldn't be in the crowd going under the arch. You would have to go through the arch and take stock of the situation to kind of figure out like where you could go that'd be less crowded.
Well, she's not one on the gummy bears. Just immediately.
Yes, Caleb gotta be the responsible one and just lead Willow towards the arch. Come on.
I will say that Juke gets, through first, and he kind of sees what Jimmy sees on the other end. And then Caleb and Willow, you guys show up, shortly after. And so we'll kind of do it in that order. Jimmy is headed to the paperwork section, but like slowly. And then I'll ask Juke where you want to go, and then we'll say where Caleb and Willow want to go once I tell you guys what is happening. So this is what everyone sees. Standing back, like behind one of the gates. So in the courtyard, there's the courtyard that's just grass, and all of the tables are on the courtyard. Then there is the building that kind of like shapes it like a U, where there are like, places where you can go down hallways and where the lockers are. And it's the ground floor of the school, essentially. Kind of shapes the courtyard like a U. And then in the front, in between the school and the courtyard, is a wrought iron gate that's like big, and it says, a beautiful letter heading that says Madonna High School. So right where that gate is, like on the backside of it, there is a group of young ladies. You're not sure like what year they are, but you kind of assume that they're not really getting in the lines, that they're probably upperclassmen, but they are all wearing like yellow jackets and jean skirts. They also have like their hair kind of teased and frizzed out and like big old bushy ponytails and like, big old side parts and crimped hair. They look, fresh and very stylish for the time. In one of the lines, there's like a bit of a blockage because there's a couple of boys that are just standing in the middle of the line. They're not in the line really. They're just standing in the middle of the line because they're just talking with one another. They kind of have, you can kind of see they have stuff in their hands and you can see things moving among them. They're just like chatting, they're like trading stuff, and people like that are behind them are like, are you guys in line? Are you moving? What's happening? And so it's kind of annoying. You can also see that, and those boys they're kind of just wearing like plain loose t-shirts and jean shorts. And then closer to the bus stops, there are a few girls with like pigtails and like fluffy ponytails. They look a bit younger, and they're all kind of wearing like pretty like summer dresses. They're clearly have been done up for the first day of school by their parents. And then right behind them is another group of girls that are around the same age, but clearly they like dress themselves type of situation. So essentially you're kind of getting the gambit of the different types of people. So those girls, they're kind of wearing like tennis shoes, ripped jeans, overalls, things like that. You can also hear a cacophony. So you can hear like a bunch of people talking, but you can also hear like a cacophony of like jingles because like hundreds of these people have like those like beaded friendship bracelets, and they have like little things dangling from like their book bag and keychains. And so it's a bit loud. It's a bit ruckus. It's a whole school of teenagers hanging out. And then across the courtyard, so closer to where the arch is, there's a couple of guys that are in kind of the corner that are all holding skateboards. One of them is kind of like, well, he's trying to skateboard. He like keeps putting it down and like getting on it. And as soon as he does and like, tries to go somewhere, one of the adults like literally just looks over at him like, I'm watching you. I can still see you. I'm still watching you. And then he kind of picks up his skateboard again. But there seems to be a bit of a back and forth there. So this is just a sea of like, purples and pinks and blues and a cacophony of people talking and laughing and, so it is quite busy. There is a lot of people here, and there's, because this is a big school, they have a large population. You can also see that there is a little tiny group of people who are kind of like, actually it's just two kids who are like wearing all black, like head to toe, like clearly like jet black dyed hair and like jet black like t-shirts and jet black long pants and jet black shoes. And they are kind of standing off to the side, but also in one of the lines. And then, of course, digging into everyone's shoulders are huge backpacks, quickly filling up with textbooks and other stuff that the school is giving them. But you can see that as they go through the tables of the lines and they get to the other side of getting all their stuff, most of them will then go to like the club section, and they'll kind of go over there and hang out there and check out that. And then a lot of them will go like wait to go to the club section next or later. And instead they will start to go into like the main school area to kind of like walk around, find their classes, all that stuff. So these are the tables that you guys see in the main courtyard. There's a table for IDs and schedules, and you need to be in your alphabetical letter for your last name. And then there is a place for textbooks and like other materials that you need to have. And it's you get your textbooks and the other materials based on your schedule. And then there's the club's tent. And then there's like the paperwork booth. So that's essentially what you guys see. So, high schoolers, what are we all doing?
Juke's going to kind of wander a little bit in the crowd. And I think when I hear like the sound of skateboard wheels hitting the concrete, I'll head in that direction and see if I know those kids from the group that I hang out with at the park skating.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Not in any hurry to get my schedule at all.
Yeah. Willow and Caleb?
Retreating. Retreating, going backwards, walk away.
No, Caleb is dragging Willow forwards. Come on, let's at least check out the clubs, and we can actually go do the important stuff.
There's too many people.
You don't need to worry about those people. I'll just use you as a weapon to get through the crowd. Simple.
It's too many people. It's crowded.
Oh, it's crowded. It's all because you're short. I mean,
I will.
Sure, let's go retreat a little bit.
I will grab my skateboard and knock you down, you tall giant.
You grab your skateboard, I will trip you up, you tiny gremlin.
Okay. What are you two doing?
All right, we have to actually do something.
Is there a path that like can just go around the crowd to get to places, or do you have to go through the crowd?
No, you don't have to go to the crowd. So the crowd is congested around the things you're going to eventually have to go to. This is the first day of school.
So
you do need to get your
rude.
materials. However, it's really busy right now because it's at the beginning of the whole event. Like everyone has literally just got there. So that's why some people are off to the side not doing it. They're kind of waiting for the crowd to die down too. So people are moving around, but the reason why it's so congested in the lines area is because that's what everybody has to do, and everybody just got here. So I will say that if you just walk around to the outskirts of the courtyard, so the courtyard is grass, and that's where all the tables are. But if you walk under like the school awning where the sidewalk is, that's where less people are. And then you can also just tour the school. The school's open. So you can go into like the school on the first floor and go upstairs and stuff like that. And then, you guys can do whatever you want based on what's here. But at some point you just need to go and get your schedules and IDs and stuff.
Is there a tree?
No.
There is a tree. It is not in the courtyard because the courtyard is just all grass. It's like a manicured section where the gate is. So it's like a little entry, section. There's like one tree and probably
Goober, don't do
some
it.
bushes.
Escape to the tree.
No.
That's at the other side of the area where Jimmy was, where the buses are.
Dang it.
You know what? If we want to, Caleb will follow.
Yeah. You don't have to go through the crowd. You can just go around.
She running around the crowd.
You're running?
Yep. She is speed.
Roll your flight.
No. Can Caleb follow?
Yep, roll your flight. It's gonna be a DC 9. You're running in school. I don't know why you thought that was a good idea.
She's running around them, alright? She ain't going through the crowd. It's fine.
No, but it doesn't matter. It's just running.
Duck and weave.
Got 9.
You literally got the DC. Lucky. You're running, and as you're running, so where you have to run to actually get around them is the sidewalk, which is where the entrance is to like the left side of the U shape of the school. And so just like the kids who are trying to get on skateboards, that's where you are. You're running past them.
He actually just jumps on their skateboards and steals it. He's just like, all right, I'm going.
That's a whole nother check. You do that, but again, as you are running, a woman that is wearing one of the shirts like everybody else goes, ma'am, no running.
But why?
Because you could fall and hurt yourself. This is concrete. It's dangerous.
So? I'm not hurting anyone.
She sort of looks at you, because this was not a planned interaction. She kind of looks at you and just goes, what's your name?
Willow?
Willow. She wants to know your last name.
Does Willow want Caleb to intervene here? Because Caleb's just watching this go downhill.
I mean, she ran away from me, so I don't know how far behind you are. She kind of just stares at her, like just blank face staring at her, and then she's gonna book it again.
What's your you're gonna book it for her?
She's gonna book it.
Okay.
It's the cops all over again.
Jeez Louise. I'm gonna need 2 rolls here. I'm gonna need 1 for your flight. And now I'm gonna have to make this person a whole character. Great. Let's see.
They're making you do so much extra work because she just wants to run.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you don't know any of these people yet. So you don't know who this teacher is. But, okay. So go ahead and roll your flight. DC is again going to be 9 because she's probably not going to think you're running.
Oh, no. I got a 3.
Okay. And then go ahead and roll your charm. DC is going to be 9.
Oh, I got an 8.
Close. Very close. Okay. You run off after she goes, Willow? Willow what? And you just kind of stare at her for a moment and say nothing and then bolt. She literally goes, what? Because she didn't expect that. And she just kind of watches you run away from her. She's very confused. And that's what happens there. I will say you're able to run like past the people on the left side, and now you're at the beginning of the school. So where the gate is and the buses.
How far away am I from the tree?
I mean, the tree it's not like a standalone tree. It's a part of landscaping. So you would have to, like, you know, either crawl up the gate or crawl over the bushes. People will be like, what are you doing? Like, there's no way to stealth. It's a part of the open landscaping to the entrance of the school.
Who said she's trying to stealth it?
Okay.
She parkouring over the bushes and grabbing onto the tree.
Okay. So, Caleb, you see Willow try to make her way over the landscaping bushes and up this tree that's in the front. Very quickly, students who are walking from the bus are like staring in her direction. They're kind of like, what's happening here? So Willow, go ahead and make me a flight roll again. And it's going to be another 9. It's a pretty small tree.
18.
You are able to hop up, like literally just crawl up the tree, and you're able to sit on it pretty comfortably. About 5 seconds later, as probably Caleb joins you, another teacher is now next to you. Like, he's looking up at you from the tree, and he's like, little girl, please come down.
But why?
No, we're not doing the why again. God damn.
We will leave that interaction as Jimmy, you make it to the.
Oh damn, Juke! You know what? No. I'm sorry, Tanya. It's okay if Juke's or M in this case says what he just typed out loud, because that is a heart piercer right there.
What did he say? I didn't.
I just typed, this is why Juke doesn't hang out with Willow anymore.
Why? Because she's fun?
Betrayal.
It's because you're boring. You don't want to do fun stuff? Gosh.
Yeah, that.
Anyways, Jimmy, you find yourself closer to the paperwork booth. It's not full of adults, but there are adults there. And surprisingly enough, you recognize one of them that's kind of standing there, and he's standing there with his wearing a suit, and he's talking with someone, and it's Juke's dad, and he is speaking with one of the other teachers that's at the paperwork booth. But you don't see your dad anywhere in this area, and there aren't really any other like students in this area because this is the paperwork area.
I'll go up to like one of the teachers there. And just ask if I need to be here when my dad's here, or if I can go, or what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, there is a teacher like sitting at the desk, sort of like grabbing paperwork from everybody and putting them in like the proper sections and stuff like that. So let's say that this is an older woman, and she is also wearing the same shirt that everybody else is, and she kind of looks over at you. Are you handing in paperwork?
I think so.
Okay. She kind of looks down at a crate that she has where she's been putting paperwork. What's your name, hon?
James Breach.
Breach. And she sort of thumbs through a part of the alphabet, and she pulls out a folder, and she goes, Breach, all right. And she kind of looks through it. Yes, yeah, yeah. No, we have everything. This was actually just dropped off.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And she kind of puts it back. Like, you're very welcome.
While I'm standing there, I'm not too worried or care too much about Juke's dad, but do I just casually hear anything they're talking about?
You can if you'd like. He's not really paying attention to you. I'm pretty sure Juke probably most likely doesn't really know any of Juke's friends or acquaintances unless he knows your parents.
Mm-hmm.
He would know your parents, though, because they make a good amount of money. They have one of the biggest houses in the hills. He's probably been trying to, sell them like $1 million like space further up in another town or something like that. So he probably would know.
Yeah, I think
your
that
parents.
I think that Juke's dad like is constantly like, why did you hang out with that Breach kid anymore? Like really wanted that friendship to work out for him.
Yeah, for him. So he would know you if he noticed you, but right now he is not paying attention to like anyone else but the person he's talking to. So I think you could try to kind of eavesdrop where you are. So they're a little on the side of the table. So how would you want to listen in? Is it something where you kind of just like want to walk by? Do you want to try and like stand close enough? Like, what's your plan?
I think it's more just like casual eavesdropping. He's not too curious, but maybe as he walks by, he stops and looks like he's trying to figure out where he wants to go next. And just as he's taking in his surroundings, he's seeing what he can pick up.
Okay. I will say that you unfortunately pick up a lot of just voices, like just people talking over each other because it's very crowded. So unless you were trying to like hone your ears to hear something in particular, you probably would just hear like a lot of rabble. Yeah. And then I did this, and then oh my god, this is so great. You literally just hear like a bunch of people talking. Even the people that are next to you, because there's a bunch of adults around you, including Juke's dad. And they're also talking.
That's fine.
Okay.
I don't think Jimmy's too interested. He was just curious if maybe he'd pick up something as he was standing there.
Not really. You hear a bunch of stuff from a bunch of people. Does any of it interest you? Where you are, it could, but only if you were. How about you tell me if you overheard something, why it would make you interested in it? Is there anything in particular that would make you stand to attention if you heard somebody say?
I mean, if they were just talking about like previous grades or previous like relationships, experiences in like middle school, just any casual history.
Like the adults that you're around? I
mean, he's not too interested. It's just more seeing what he picks up through casual conversation. If he's just hearing murmur and general chatter, he's not going to pay too much attention.
Can Jimmy overhear kids talking about the apple nuns?
Okay. Where you are in the paperwork section, as you like leave that area, I will say that you are closest to the line. So like where the courtyard area is. I would definitely say that in line, you're probably getting a bunch of stuff of people talking. But I think the only people that would be really talking about the summer would be people on the outskirts. So some of the people that got off the buses were some of the girls that had like the pretty dresses, and then a couple of girls that had like overalls and like sneakers. And then there's a couple of people that are a little bit more plain dressed, and they're kind of like in a group between the buses and the paperwork station. I'll say that if you're just walking around and you're walking past them and you're just, not really paying attention, you would probably overhear a couple of things. You would overhear people talking about how they found it really annoying that the parks were closed at different times over the summer. You'll hear people talk about how they, were able to go to Plymouth because they have like a water park, really just recapping their summer. I'll say that maybe you hear one or two people talking about that this was the best, crabapple festival they've seen, even though they've probably only gone to like 3 that they could like remember. But yeah, I'll say you can hear a couple of people talking about like, yeah, no, did you go to the festival? Yeah, no, that was amazing. Yeah, there was like this, and the Ferris wheel was really good this year, and first day was a little bit boring because of the speech that the planning committee guy gave, but after that it was like totally amazing. And so yeah, I'll say that there's a couple people talking about their summer and just recapping if they went to the festival and how they liked the festival.
This is what I would say Jimmy is doing. He's just meandering through the crowd, but he's kind of trying to scope out the hierarchy of the school. He's new to high school. He wants to see where he's going to fit in, who stands out as leaders of their respective packs, so on and so forth.
Okay. I will say that I don't think you necessarily see cliques in the way that we kind of think of cliques today. It's more of, it's the freshmen that seem to be keeping together, and then they have their respective friends. And then you have the upperclassmen who aren't really mixing with the freshmen. That's more of like the vibe you're getting. The upperclassmen are the top of the hierarchy. So clearly the people who are at the top of the hierarchy are the seniors. And then they have, their own kind of like tropes and cliques within the senior group and the junior group. And then you have like the sophomores. They seem a little bit more comfortable with interacting with the freshmen because they just were a freshman, but also a little bit more comfortable interacting with the juniors. So they are the ones that are kind of like mingling a little bit more. But no one's really like meeting like new people, trying to like truly mingle. Most of them are kind of staying with people that they knew before the summer, people that they met over the summer, or people that they've gone to school with before. In terms of the type of people here, it's fairly eclectic, but most of the people here are like 2 different types of big groups. They are more of like the preppy, clearly upper class, clearly like whether they actually do rule the school, they do believe that they have more privilege, and that's kind of how they carry themselves. And then you have people that seem to be a little bit more down to earth, a little bit more chill. This is based on like also how they're dressed and how they're interacting with people. And then you have like people who are a little bit more stand-out-ish. So one of the people you would probably notice is the girl that's climbing a tree. That's usually not normal. However, I will say that at this point, she is probably like being joined by other people who are like, I dig that. Yeah. I actually didn't think about climbing that tree, and now I want to climb the tree too. So she probably has a bunch of
She's starting a trend.
she's starting something. So you can probably see that like because she's kind of doing something strange, other strange people are kind of like going over to her. And it's kind of the same thing with like people who have skateboards or people who are wearing like more alternative clothing. Like they tend to be gravitating towards each other. People who are wearing more like preppy clothing, they seem to be gravitating towards each other. But it's still pretty segregated in terms of upperclassmen and freshmen. So like the freshmen are still staying like together, even if they're a little cliquey. So I guess for you, Jimmy, is there anything you would be drawn to as you like kind of look around?
Well, the girl climbing the tree is definitely an interesting vibe.
Yeah.
Considering that Jimmy has done plenty of that. So I think he would meander that way, but he's not rushing. He's just gauging people, seeing who stands out as what, just kind of gauging the vibes of different people around the school.
Okay. Yeah. So then that's what you see. You see a whole bunch of people. You see that there's definitely a hierarchy with the seniors being at the top of the rung. And then there are like different clique groups, but whether they're like equal to one another, you're not really going to get that just by looking at this group because everyone's kind of together. You kind of need to see the school actually in its original like habitat of like when classes actually start. Right now, it just looks like a big old party of a bunch of different types of teenagers.
I think he meanders until he starts to realize that it's Willow climbing the tree. And then he starts to move a little bit more purposefully and a little bit more speedily to get over there.
Okay. So we have Willow up a tree. We have Caleb probably at the bottom of the tree, wondering what the hell is going on. We have Jimmy moving himself towards the tree. And then I just made it canon that there are other people moving towards the tree. And then there is also an adult. And probably at this point, if more kids come over and they're like, that's cool, and then they start doing it, and other adults are going to come over. So that's happening. And so then Juke, you were making your way over to the guys with the skateboards. So I'll say that some of them are people you know. There are some of the guys that you've seen at the skateboard park, and then a couple of them you're not familiar with them, like you've never seen them before. Yeah, I would say they all kind of look at you and they recognize you, and they'll just be like, hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. I'll say that they're juniors. They're mostly juniors. Yeah. And you would know that because they're at the skate park. And then any of the people there that are like fresh faced to you, you won't know what year they are.
Right. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of like, yeah, blah, 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 that sort of thing, and
yeah,
I don't have any goal. Just want to like hang out.
Just trying to hang out, and that's what they're doing until, of course, somebody comes over and they're like, "You guys hear about the chick in the tree?" And they're like, "What?" And they find that hilarious, and so then they all start to move towards the tree to see this spectacle. Do you go with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is amazing. I love this.
This is what has happened. We have two teachers now who are, one of them is trying to be really nice, and they're like, listen, everyone, we cannot be on the landscaping. This is very dangerous, et cetera, et cetera. The other teacher is like, if you guys don't come down right now, we're talking detention. We're talking like, so you have like a good cop, bad cop. But neither of them like want to get in the tree because they're not breaking a bone for these kids. But Willow, you were in the tree first. Then you saw one girl come over and she's like, epic. Then she starts climbing the tree. Then this guy comes over and he's like, what's happening? And the other girl is like, we're climbing a tree. And he's like, all right. So then he starts climbing a tree. So I'm going to say there's like 3 people in the tree right now. It's not that big of a tree. It's a landscaping tree. It's not a crabapple tree. It's not that great to have so many people in it. It is starting to get weighed down a little bit. There's also quite a crowd. There's just people that are still coming off the buses that just find this hilarious, and they're just kind of standing off to the side, just watching. There are people that were in the main area that came out of the main area because they wanted to see what was happening. And now, Juke, you bust through there's like a little circle that's kind of not a small circle. There's a bit of a big circle because you guys are at the gate. So there's kind of a circle around this like little landscaping section. And as you kind of come with the skateboarder guys, you finally see who the chick in the tree is. as well as see a couple other people. You see Caleb standing there. You see the two teachers. You see everyone kind of watching. And then Jimmy, you also at the same time arrive on the other side of the gate. So Juke and Jimmy, you guys are like standing perpendicular to like one another. Willow is in the middle in the tree. And then Caleb is like on the ground looking up with the teachers. What's everybody doing?
She's just vibing. She's like, she'll like see Jimmy and be like, "Hey, Jimmy, why don't you come join us? Since Caleb over here is being a wimp."
I am. Gilbert, please get down so we can at least go do some other stuff. He's just kind of like looking at the teacher. I can explain for her.
He's boring.
Oh, you know this kid?
Yeah, she's my friend.
Great. What's her name?
Don't tell them nothing, Caleb.
Oh, whoa,
Don't
that's
expose me.
all right. All
I
right.
think Jimmy comes up and is like, "Hey, Willow."
The teacher takes out a clipboard and she's kind of ready to write it down. What's her name?
That's a little bit aggressive.
Don't you dare.
No. If this is the way the teacher's going to play, Caleb's going to play a game too. That's a little aggressive. You're asking me about another student's name. Easy there.
She kind of like sighs and she's like, listen, either you can get your friend down and they can go to detention on the first day. I can get your friend down and they can go to detention on the first day. It doesn't matter. You know, detention will be available both times.
It's
just
inevitable. So who cares? I'm staying up here.
Or
are you screaming?
no.
She's screaming at the top of her lungs.
God damn it! I'm trying to help you.
I've already been investigated once. You can't do it again.
This has indeed become quite the scene.
I'm held hostage here. God damn it!
And I'm gonna need everyone to kind of think of what they're thinking right now and let me know what you are doing in this moment.
Hey, at least people are having fun.
God damn it. Caleb is trying to fix this. This is getting out of hand with each word that some certain person is saying here.
Tanya, does Jimmy see anyone else who looks like they want to go in the tree?
Yeah. Actually, you see someone you recognize. She is a younger Black girl. She has like her hair in a poof ponytail. She has big old glasses on and she's wearing overalls. And she is actually standing in the crowd and she has kind of her hands on her hips and she's just smiling at the whole like interaction. And you can kind of see she's just kind of like, I love this. And I think and she's kind of thinking about it. However, the tree's getting crowded, folks. It's a small tree. And so I think this girl, and I'll tell you that this is Maya, I think she understands that, you know, the last thing you want to do is like break something on it because then you're like damaging property. So I think she's like finding it all amusing, but she might get in the tree depending on how crazy this gets. But yeah, there's a couple of crowds of people and they all have different reactions. Some of them are like, what is happening? Like, why is this even happening? Like, this is ridiculous. Some people are like, this is hilarious. This is great. This is fun. And then other people are like, this is stupid. Like, what's even, like, why is this even happening?
Juke and Caleb got their legacy of the apple nuns. Will's getting her legacy of the girl in the tree.
You're certainly getting a legacy. So, Jimmy, that's what you see.
Okay. I'll go over to her or wave my hands and try and get her attention. Hey, Maya, you want to climb in a tree?
She looks over at you and waves, and then she'll sort of like cover the gap so that you guys are right next to each other. Because again, it's crowded and loud. So she heard you because you were yelling, but she's going to get closer to you so she doesn't have to yell. But yeah, so Maya kind of comes over to you and she's like, I made her from Texas, I believe. Hey, Jimmy, how's it going? You know, I haven't actually seen anyone climb a tree this small before. I'm not sure it's safe to, you know, continue piling onto it. Do you know that girl?
Uh-huh. That's Willow.
Right. Well, I love the statement she's making, whatever the statement is, but I'm not sure that tree is going to hold too many more people. So you might want to try to get her down.
I could.
Yeah.
Well, that's more Caleb's job.
Who?
Oh, another friend of mine.
All right. I was gonna go get like my stuff and then like go to class, like a regular student. So I will see you later, but don't go in the tree. and I rarely say that because I do love climbing trees, but don't go in the tree.
Willow's just yelling in the background.
No.
Just like, if y'all didn't want us climbing these trees, you should have made some good trees for us to climb.
Maya continues to walk past you, and she's going to go to the line. Juke, what are you doing?
Probably like grinning and just watching the chaos, because I'm genuinely amused when Willow does insane things and causes trouble, but I wouldn't want to be associated with her, so just kind of...
Oh, you're not gonna be her crime buddy? No one wants to be Willow's crime buddy.
Damn. No, I don't want Willow crime at all.
Everyone who is trying to intervene in some way, I need you to roll a charm. DC is gonna be 15.
Oh, love of God.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what happens.
Nice.
Oh my God.
There you go.
That's a 19.
Perfect.
Oh my God.
Anyone else?
How dare you?
I'm going to make sure Willow gets through this year without too much trouble, even if it causes Caleb's ass. Jesus Christ.
Just let her start a trend, man.
Trend of terror.
Anyone else?
I don't think Jimmy's gonna climb the tree, but just be in the area, like near the base of it, as close as he can get without causing trouble. But in case it breaks,
Okay. But you're not doing anything.
no.
Okay. And then Juke.
Not doing anything.
Okay. Unfortunately,
What do you mean, unfortunately? That was a 19.
well, so this is what's happening. And even though you had a great roll, because you're just one person in this absolute chaosness, it's going to be able to do something, but not as much as you think. Perhaps if you had more people that would rally, it would have been different. But this is what is happening. At this point, Willow, you have been in the tree for quite some time. You've brought new people into the tree. And there's also like other people who find this so amusing and they like love this so much that they're like at the base of the tree trying to climb the tree. And at this point, the adults are like worried. So before they were like, this is annoying. And now they're like worried for everyone's safety. This tree is not, again, very big or very tall, but they're not going to climb them. Therefore, one of the teachers yells to the other teacher to go get the principal, go get the maintenance person to get a ladder. And if you can't find anybody right now, because it's busy, like it's crazy here, then call the fire department. So, Caleb.
Oh, no.
As you hear him scream this to the other teacher, what are you trying to get him to not do out of those three things?
Definitely the fire department.
Okay.
Because that would make too big of a scene.
Okay.
And he's really trying to convince Willow, just please get down. I know you can.
Okay.
This is not the best way to start the scene.
Does it Willow hear them saying this?
If you're paying attention, yeah. If you're still screaming at the top of your lungs to other people, and also now you have people in the tree and people below you, so now people are closer to you and saying things.
She's just been like listening to the teachers, trying to see if they're going to try and come up or not the whole entire time while she's
They are not going to come up because they don't want to climb a tree. They are. They're not going to do that.
She's just preparing. She's like, all right, they're going to go do something, and I'm going to just yell scatter, jump down into a bush, and then book it.
Where?
to the classrooms. There's got to be an empty one somewhere she can hide.
You haven't even gotten your schedule yet.
Who needs it?
Okay. All right.
A class is a class. You'll learn something no matter what.
I realize I am severely out of control here.
Let's cap this chaos. So, Caleb, you hear them scream this. I'm going to say, Willow, you do hear them scream that. You do hear her scream this, but I'm going to say the only part you really hear is her say, get the fire department. You don't hear the other two.
Yeah, she's immediately going to be like, all right, time to book it.
And then Caleb, while she's like screaming to the other teacher and the other teacher runs off to get somebody, Caleb, you are able to calm the other teacher down, probably telling them that like you don't need the fire department. She's going to come down. I could probably go up and get her. Like it's not that tall of a tree. Like somebody could go get her.
You know the funny thing about this is that she went up the tree to get away from the crowd, and she just caused another crowd.
So this happens. So while all of this is happening, and Juke, you're kind of like watching your friends where you are is kind of like I'm gonna say that they're all like, is this some kind of like movement? Are we missing something? Is this like a protest? Like what's happening? Because more people started to come and try to climb the tree. And so they were like, is something happening? Are we missing something? They were like, I'm so confused, man. Like what is happening? So first they were like, this is hilarious. And then they're like, is this like a thing? What's going on? So people are all kind of like shifting, not really sure what's happening right now. And Jimmy is now there, and you're just kind of watching. Juke is kind of watching. Maya has obviously walked off. So Caleb and Willow, or specifically Willow, because Caleb, you are calming down the teacher. The other teacher does go and get both the principal, the vice principal, the maintenance guy who is coming with a ladder, and also they tell a couple other teachers as well on their way. So Willow, what are you doing in this moment? And it sounds like you want to run away. So I'm going to need a flight roll for that. DC is going to be 20.
What? Yeah. Oh my God. I don't even have enough to make it that. I got 12.
Can I try and help her though? Like if she gets to the ground?
What would you do?
Just stumble into the way of teachers who might try and chase after.
Yeah, she's going. She like is going to yell scatter and then jump, like hoping that people would just like the rest of the people will jump off the tree as well, like climb down the tree, and everyone else will just scatter with her to make it harder for them to find her.
With that scatter, I will say that you can roll basically with advantage. So go ahead and roll again. DC's still 20.
Is this something where I could spend adversity points to help her out?
I got 4.
That's not it. I don't have that many adversity points.
Wait, I have 8, but that's not enough.
That's not enough.
I can give 10, but that's it.
I mean, 10 and 8 plus or 4 is technically above 20.
So since Jimmy and Caleb are both there, you guys can help in some way.
And we're really going down with a bang.
On the first
and Willow, you did already scatter. I will say that on your failed flight roll, that was really to see if you could slip out of the one person that's there, the one teacher that's already there, who's talking to Caleb. So I will say that they like see you jump down and see all the other kids jump down, and they try to get to you, but don't get to you. So you are able to evade them. However, depending on where you run, you literally run smack dab into the vice principal, who was just close because they were over at the paperwork section and heard the ruckus.
No.
And so they are there. And so at this point, Jimmy, if you want to do something, you can try to do something. What would you do?
So when she drops down, I wanted to like join her at the ground where she lands and then kind of follow along behind. And when she smacks into the principal, I also smack into the principal and try to accidentally, making it look like an accident, push him away so that she can get past.
Okay. So I will say that you can bump into the principal along with Willow, but at the moment, the principal hasn't done anything. They just showed up.
Yeah.
So I will say that pushing the principal in this moment is not going to be good for anybody.
Pushing the prince? I just accidentally bumped into him into all this chaos.
All right, you're going to have to roll a brawn.
Oh.
They're going to roll a brains to see if they can see if that was a real accident or not.
Brawn is not my strong.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically.
Yeah.
Willow's just causing a giant riot first day of school.
I got a 4.
Okay.
Although I might. Wait. This is to help Willow, right?
So your thing was to push them enough to where they would like stumble and Willow could keep running.
Yes.
So that was your thing. And then their role was to see if they could figure out when you jump into them if it was a quote unquote accident.
Okay.
Or if it was quite clear to them that you were trying to like help Willow.
Fair enough.
So this is what happens, and this is what everyone sees. Willow, you jump down off the tree, and all of your compatriots do as you yell scatter, as if this was some sort of organized, I don't know, plan. And I'm not even going to roll for them. They're so, I guess, let's say enamored with you. I guess. I don't know why they would be so.
She's starting a cult.
They really enjoy whatever you were trying to do. And so that's what they do. And the people who are standing there in the crowds are, again, very confused, but they find this hilarious. They're like, who is this girl and what is happening? So these kids scatter, right? Nobody, probably not many people know them, but I'm going to say there's like 5 of them. They scatter. You also scatter and you run past the teacher that's talking to Caleb, and you would have to run into the crowd for you not to be seen because you're in an open area because you're at school. And instead, you run headfirst into the vice principal, who was called along with the principal to come and see what the situation is. And you bump into the vice principal. You don't have to necessarily actually bump, but you literally are like you are running, and that person is directly in front of you. So you would have to just like try to get away. And Jimmy is right behind you, and tries to make it look like an accident that they kind of like bump the vice principal so that they'll get off their balance and you'll keep walking, or you can keep running. Unfortunately, what actually happens is you are stopped by the vice principal. The vice principal is actually, I believe, a woman. The vice principal's name is Kari Sanchez. And you guys haven't met the vice principal yet, or the principal. You haven't met anybody. You went straight.
This is like hour 1 of high school.
Literally.
It's been an hour, and there's already been a riot.
Literally. And let's say she's a short, like portly, older woman. She has like kind of rosy cheeks. She has like very pale, like yellowed skin. Looks like she doesn't like get out in the sun much. She's kind of wearing like a brown suit, fairly tailored. It's just like a suit skirt with like some brown shoes and stockings, and she has like her hair up in a bun. She's a little shocked that you accidentally ran into her, and she's like, "Oh," and she's like, "Huh," and she just looks at you both, and she goes, "Welcome to Madonna High School. You two are fun. I can tell, right?"
That kind of causes Will to be like, hold up, this woman gets me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She just goes like, oh, hi.
She's kind of looking at both of you and smiling brightly. And as she's kind of like nodding of like, you guys are fun, I can tell, the principal walks up behind her along with one of the maintenance guys who also has a ladder. He's out like holding a ladder, as well as the gym teacher and like another teacher and like 2 other teachers, like a couple of other people kind of come towards you. 2 of those other teachers are like in front of them. They have 2 of the kids that scattered that didn't get away. Like things are clearly come to a head. And the principal,
if they look angry, she running.
No, stop running, please.
They don't look angry. But I will say that the principal's name is Calliope Drescher. And she is a very tall woman with like gray hair that she has kind of like, they're kind of long tresses that are in like spiral coils almost. And she kind of has like a half up, half down look. But she's very tall and she is wearing like a business suit almost, as well as like some comfortable shoes. And she sort of just comes up and kind of looks at the one teacher that was yelling at you before. And as she looks at the scene, because remember, all of these people came here because like another teacher was like, hey, we need help at the front of the gate, but they don't actually know the whole situation. So the principal comes along with like the maintenance person and they're all like, what's happening? And they're talking and they're looking at the teacher that was just speaking to Caleb. So that teacher gives them the rundown, or particularly gives the principal the rundown, who then is like, right, okay. And then she looks at the maintenance and she's like, thank you so much, Mr. Gerald. You can go. We won't need you anymore. So he walks off and she kind of looks around at everyone and she goes, well, quite the beginning of the school year. Different, certainly. And she looks at you, Willow.
Gotta shake things up.
And she looks at you, Willow, and you realize, you can kind of tell in her eyes that she recognizes you.
She's like, oh my gosh, is that a pantsuit? That's amazing. I always wanted one of those, but they're expensive. She just starts like rambling.
She kind of looks at you and then looks at the other two students that got caught and then also looks at the vice principal and everybody else. And she goes, I think that's enough excitement for one morning. And she kind of looks at Kari, the vice principal, and she goes, I'm assuming you'll take care of this. I do have a lot of work to get back to doing. It is the first day of classes. Hopefully this, the rest of your school year, she's looking around to you, all of you, Willow and Jimmy and the other two students. Hopefully this won't be as exciting of a year as today was. And then she kind of turns around and walks away. And then the other teachers kind of look at the vice principal and they're just kind of like, okay, what do we do with these kids? Like, what do you do? And then you guys look back to Kari. Caleb, what are you doing in this moment as you see what's happening?
Jesus Christ. This ended surprisingly better than I thought. That's a good thing.
Wait, did Willow recognize the principal?
Make a brains roll. I'm going to say the DC is going to be 6. So I don't think it'd be that difficult. So Caleb, do you join or no, essentially?
Yeah, he's going to try to, I hate to say it, but he's definitely going to try to talk to the principal, get like, not the situation sorted because it's already set up, but like he's going to try to tone down the situation.
What did you roll?
I got a 7.
I'm going to say that at this point, there's a bunch of you guys and a bunch of teachers. So I don't think this is going to be a place of discussion. The act has been witnessed. The people have been caught.
Right.
We're at that stage.
Is Willow surrounded though?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Oh no.
Essentially, yeah.
You're going to Fort Knox. Congrats. You really made an impression today.
Well, no. This is school, not the cops. But so they understand that this is the whole thing. But so essentially, Caleb can make the decision to move from where you were near where the tree talking to the teacher, because the teacher has gone over to explain everything. You can go with them and be in the group so you can like hear and see what's happening and maybe see what you can do once you like hear everything, or you can stay where you are, or you can stay off to like the side. Essentially, like how involved are you going to get in this?
I'm wondering if he can do 2 things. One, he does want to be there so that he can try to tone down the situation, talk, defend his client, apparently, which is now Willow, I guess. But he also wants to grab his schedule as well as Willow's schedule because she never did end up grabbing it.
Well, first, let's see what's actually going to happen because nothing's happened yet. You've been caught. but nothing has actually happened to Willow. So right now, you either want to get closer or you don't want to get closer.
He's going to get closer.
Okay. So everyone is essentially there in listening shot of what is happening. Juke, are you going to get closer so that you can hear what's happening?
I'll probably just, if the skater kids are gonna hang out around there, I'll stick with them. If everybody's kind of breaking up, then I'll just go and get my schedule and stuff.
Okay. I'll say that at this point, after that whole moment of chaos that everyone kind of congregated, the other lines have died down. Like no more people are arriving because, that was the big time. And so the crowd is much, much smaller in the courtyard. But now more people are inside of the school, finding their classes, meeting their teachers, doing the stuff. And so the lines are a little bit more manageable and it's not as crowded. So your group that you were like hanging out with, they're just kind of like, well, that was weird, man. Start to the day. And yeah, they're just like kind of joking about it, but they're going to move along, like do whatever they were going to do.
Yeah, I'll just be like, yeah, it must be like a new squirrel club or something like that. Hey,
they find that hilarious. Squirrel club.
I'll see you guys at maybe lunch or something.
Yeah. We usually sit on the second floor, and you haven't seen the lunchroom, but they're just telling you that as if you have seen it. Yeah, we're on the second floor.
I'll
find us.
act as though I know what they're talking about.
Yeah, right.
Oh, cool.
And then they walk away. So where are you going?
I'll head to the tables to get my papers and stuff.
Okay.
If I catch Caleb's eye along the way, I'll kind of like roll my eyes or something.
The fuck? Okay.
You
Yes.
God damn.
Don't even have the audacity to speak to him.
I'll see you all are all congregated in the front of like the courtyard, right like where the lines are, but you're like in the front of the courtyard because that's where you got caught. And now there's just a bunch of you guys just kind of standing there with teachers and the vice principal. And so I would say, Juke, if you get in your line, which is B, you'd be in the first line. So you'd be directly behind them. Just waiting in line. And so I think you guys would be able to see Juke, and Juke would be able to see, obviously, you guys. And maybe if you want to, you could try to like listen in while you just like stood in line. But what happens is you are all standing there, and the vice principal, Miss Sanchez, she just looks at everyone. She goes, well, I can tell that you're all freshmen, right? Which is exciting. Welcome to Madonna High School. I am your vice principal. You can call me Miss Sanchez, Kari, Miss C. I'll answer to all of those. So lovely to meet all of you. Now, what did you say your name was, hun? And she looks at you, Willow.
She kind of like stares at her. Like, you're very pretty.
Oh my god.
She kind of puts like a hand on her heart and kind of like looks taken aback, and she's like, oh my god, thank you. Thank you. You know what? I am not sure why you were so interested in the tree.
I was trying to get away from the crowd, and then that kind of happened.
Okay. So, it wasn't an actual interest in the tree. Just that makes more sense. Okay, gotcha. And while she's like sitting there, just kind of like nodding, the other teacher comes up with her clipboard, and this is the teacher that was like yelling at you and was really annoyed, and wanted your name. She comes over from the paperwork area, and with her clipboard. And she just simply says, as she like comes in, Willow Khan. And everyone kind of looks over at her. And she's just staring at you like,
Hi.
Mm-hmm. And the vice principal kind of looks over at her, the teacher, and looks back at you. Willow. That is a beautiful name. That is really nice. Listen. So, I'm afraid everyone is going to have to get detention. However, before like anyone can speak, she just kind of like puts her hands up and she's like, however, I am a big proponent of giving second, third, fourth, fifth chances. However, I really can't have you climbing trees that can't hold a lot of weight. If it was a big old tree, may have been different. But we really care about your safety. But I understand that you just felt like you needed to get away and you needed that solitude, and so I don't want to give you detention. Instead, Willow Khan, I can show you to an area of the school that's very quiet, and it's just going to be a nice place for you to go to if you ever need solitude. Is that all right?
She kind of like open mouth, just like, oh, y'all have one of those?
She kind of smiles at you and she's like, well, I have one of those, and now you have one of those.
And she just like giddy smile, like shakes her hands, like, yay.
And then she looks at the rest of you. All right. So luckily the tree didn't break because that would have been a different situation, But I think for now, let's all just get our books and our schedules and really enjoy the rest of the day. And I hope to see you all, anytime after this. My office door is always open. And I hope you all have an excellent freshman year. Okay? And Willow, come on with me and I will show you that place. That was quite a first couple of minutes at school. Madonna High School already will remember all of you, regardless of what happens after today. But
what are you implying?
For the rest of the day, let's actually get you all set up for high school, and then you can, I guess, continue your shenanigans. There is a class schedule. It shows you the time that starts at 7:30 because class starts at 7:30. First bell is at 7:25. And then all classes end at 2:50, and then all like activities. So if you're in like a club or you do a sport, will obviously be after that time. You can see that the regular class schedule for everyone for their freshman year are the same classes. You have homeroom for your first 30 minutes, and then each class is 50 minutes. And then you have world literature, biology, American history, keyboard class, which is where you learn to work on a computer, lunch, physical education, English, and algebra. And then you also have a lab for biology. Now, you'll also notice there's a Wednesday slot, because that's Monday through Friday, but you have a Wednesday slot that is empty in some places. So you still have homeroom every day, and you'll still have lunch every day, but there are Wednesday blocks that you can have. Music, art, foreign language, home economics, AP science, and AP history. So those are like basically like electives. So things you can choose. So we're essentially going to like fill out your Wednesday schedule, and we're going to give you a homeroom teacher. Okay? So Willow, your homeroom teacher is going to be a Mr. Benson, a Mr. G. Benson. And you can choose music, art, foreign language, home economics, and you'd have to test into AP history and AP science. What are you interested in?
She'd be interested in like music, art, and foreign language.
What do you want your foreign language to be?
She'd probably like try and learn because her dad wouldn't have taught her a whole lot about like Asian.
Okay.
Forget the exact language.
Well, I'll say that Asian languages
like Japanese, like Chinese.
Yeah, but it would have to be so for schools to pick up that type of foreign language, it would have to be popular. Let's see. You're in Missouri. Shady Creek. Okay. I'd say they probably would have Japanese.
Then she'd probably learn that.
Okay. And then is there any other class in terms of the cores that you would be interested in taking? So your cores are English, science, history, and math, obviously. Any of those you would be interested in taking for Wednesday more than the other?
Probably science.
Okay, and pick one other one.
History.
All right. I'm going to put that in your notebook. All right. That is Willow down. Caleb, your home reading teacher is also Mr. Benson.
Oh, that's a good thing. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You guys will... Sorry, I should have explained this, but I wanted to get the schedule done today. You guys will have your home room teacher together, and then you may have some classes together, but essentially the only class you'll all have in common, well, not all of you, but the only class half of you will have in common is your homeroom teacher every day. So 2 of you will have one homeroom teacher and the other 2 will have another one.
Okay, nice. I'm stuck with the gremlin. Hell yeah.
Yep. At least for this year.
Oh, you're gonna ruin all her plans.
What do you mean? What? Okay. What are you planning?
I didn't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do the same thing. Go ahead and choose between music, art, foreign language, home economics. And then let me know if you want to test into AP history or science.
What constitutes music? Is it like learning an instrument, or are there other types?
I don't know yet. I think it'll be like a basic music class. Kind of like the keyboard class is really, these are all your basics. You guys are freshmen. So
Oh god, Caleb learning guitar is a whole new genre. What? How many do I get again? Sorry, I want to I don't know why I'm doing this too strategically.
you get 3.
I get 3. Okay. I think he'd want home economics as one, because that sounds like fun, making snacks and stuff. He'd probably go into music of some kind, just because, that time in the touring, he kind of enjoyed music that Juke was making, so he'll probably learn a little bit about that. And you know what? Maybe AP history. I don't know why, but I want to try that one.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your brains. DC's 10.
All right, this is gonna be fun. Time for my turn to get a triple. What was it called? Like explosion.
See if you could be as good as Willow. No.
Let's see. Here it comes. Nope. What short?
Yeah, you do not test into AP history.
Aww.
Yeah.
So I got to pick something else then?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe foreign languages as well.
Okay. And what do you want your foreign language to be?
What options are there?
I don't really have options. Just let me know what language you think you want, and then I'll kind of like what I did for Willow. I'll think if it makes sense for the location.
I think Spanish. Why not?
Okay. And then what other 2 of the cores would you want to take? So that's a biology, an English, one of the other histories, science.
I'm not a big fan of science, so I mean Caleb is not a big fan of science. Science. So moving on. I guess he'll take biology.
Okay. Now, everyone takes regular biology, and you have a lab that goes with that. Is there a biology you would be interested in taking in terms of not necessarily advanced, just specific? So if they have a class where they learn all about geographic wildlife or botany or, it's something specific.
Okay. I guess he would learn about human biology.
Yeah, like anatomy.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, that's kind of a science. All right. Next is Juke. Your homeroom teacher is going to be a Mrs. Pinkert. And I can tell you that you'll recognize that name because that's clearly...
I was going to say.
That's clearly the last name of someone you already know. Is it the same person? Who knows? So that is your homeroom teacher. So, which 3 are you choosing?
So I think Juke's dad would have pushed heavily for the AP classes.
Mm-hmm.
Can I argue for a lower DC because his dad has like pulled strings?
Yes. So what I'll have you do... your dad's very, very charming, actually. I'll roll... I think your dad would have a D20. I will roll your dad to see to see how he does in charming. Oh, shit. Okay.
Oh, he didn't do good.
You're still going to roll with advantage because you know that your dad definitely got you in, but maybe not from his charm.
Okay.
We'll see how that works for you in the future.
So it's still just a brains roll?
Yeah.
Then what's the difficulty?
So for you, it's a DC 5.
Okay. And I got a 9. Do I do it twice?
Yep.
1 for each class? Okay. A 9 for 1. And a 9 on the other.
Excellent.
And to be clear, Juke does not want to be in these classes.
Yeah.
So AP Science, AP History, and I think that Dad conceded and let him take music also.
That makes sense.
And then English and algebra for the other 2.
Now, everyone takes algebra, so if you're taking an extra math, it would be a different mathematics.
Geometry.
Is there geometry? All right. That is your schedule.
Juke hates Wednesday more than anything.
Yeah. Your Wednesdays can either be your favorite day or your not favorite day.
They're Willow's favorite.
Right? Yeah, it all depends. Okay, and that's you, Juke. Moving on, we have Jimmy. Jimmy, your homeroom teacher is also going to be Mrs. Pinkert.
Okay.
And which 3 are you choosing?
I'm definitely going to go for AP History.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your brains. DC 10.
Oh, man.
I know. And you do not test into AP History.
That's all
You
right.
want to try science?
Nah, he's not big on science.
Okay. What would you like?
Let's see. I'll definitely take art.
Okay.
And then it's the Wednesday blocks. Those are what I'm choosing from right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's slim pickings your first year, but as you guys, move on to different years, you get a better selection. But you got to take a lot of core classes.
I guess I'll do home economics as well.
All right.
And then, yeah, is that the only 2? What else is there to pick? What else am I going for?
So you can have music, foreign language. You can try AP Science. So that's your other ones. You need one more.
I might as well go into AP Science. Let's find out.
Okay. Well, if you wanted to go into AP Science and you wanted to do like a biology, I feel like you would know more there because you do kind of stay outside.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to go for either botany or outdoor sciences.
Okay.
Or natural sciences.
Well, AP Science would still... well, okay. I think I'll allow it. So your DC for that will be 5.
Okay, I got 5.
Oh, you're going to take it?
I rolled the 5. I just straight up rolled a 5.
Okay. And then 2 other core classes.
All right. And what were the core classes again? It was history,
biology, math, English, history, and science.
He'll definitely go for history. And do I need to diversify for history or just standard history?
No, you'll diversify because you're already taking American history. So you can take like, well, you're taking world literature, but you can take like world history, or you can take like a different culture history, or like a different, something like that.
This would be like world history or European history.
Would they have European? Probably not.
I don't know.
They would have world. That would make sense. They would have. Okay, so then we have your AP Science, your Art, Home Economics, World History, and you need one more.
One more. Can you say the list one more time?
Math, English. You already have another history, and science.
Math, English, and science. Let's do English.
Okay. Anything of interest you want to do with English?
Oh, probably creative writing.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Juke, you're also taking English. Or did you just want to take like a basic, or did you want to do something specific as well?
I'll go creative writing too.
Oh.
Should I also specify a biology? Because I chose biology as well.
Yes, you will. What's your science?
Would they have like oceanology or zoology?
They would have something. They wouldn't probably have zoology in your freshman year, but they would have probably something that would be more specific to. They would probably have like a wildlife class.
Then she'd take that one.
It'd probably be local wildlife. Do a lot of field trips where you're outside. I think you'd like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone has their schedules. Now, I don't think any of you are sharing. Well, I think 2 of you are sharing one class on Wednesday. So essentially, when you guys are in school, the amount of time you have to do things is going to be based on the classes in the schedule. So as time ticks and you're like, hey, can I do this? I'm going to be like, well, at this point, it's like right before lunch, or it's lunchtime, or you're supposed to be in class at this time and you're supposed to be this class. So that'll kind of give you an idea of when you all start making decisions, and if you want to make plans and like try to go places and do things, you're going to have to just keep in mind that there are teachers who are going to expect you in class. There's your homeroom teacher, and then there's the principal and the vice principal, and then of course there's going to be your parents. I don't think I did. I don't think I created a time frame for like how many absences or sick days or anything, but I'll probably do that. And maybe you can use adversity tokens to kind of pay some of those off or something. So everyone has your schedule. So now you kind of know like where you're going to be and also what you're taking. And then what's really important, like you'll have a bunch of teachers that I'm not really going to flesh out that much, but everyone will have their homeroom teacher fleshed out. So once again, Jimmy and Juke, you have the same homeroom teacher, and Caleb and Willow have the same homeroom teacher. And I think that is schedules. So for the last couple of minutes of the game, I want to make sure that we resolve some things and get things set up for next session. So Caleb, Juke, and Jimmy, and Willow, I will come to you last. Caleb, Juke, and Jimmy, you all get your schedules, get your books, get your materials. What do you 3 do for the rest of the day, regardless of like what happens to Willow? So you guys know that she has gone with the vice principal, but like what are you guys wanting to do? So this is the first day where everyone's really just doing orientation, but at noon there will be an assembly. So all of this like crowding and getting all your stuff is expected, I think probably like 7 a.m. to noon. And then afternoon at noon, there's a huge auditorium meeting where all students are required to go, and you'll get like a full introduction. This is where you would have met you would have properly met the principal and vice principal. But you guys just decided to, meet them right on the spot. So good for you.
Take an initiative.
Yeah, take an initiative. That's what it was. So then you would, at the assembly, that's going to be a whole thing. And then after the assembly, the expectation is that you will, because you'll also get an announcement of all of the teachers. And then after the assembly, it was really going to be some time for everyone to go to their homeroom class so that they could get an idea of all of the work they're going to be doing for the semester. So that's the plan for when we pick back up next session, is that you guys are leading towards the auditorium. And then after the auditorium, you guys will essentially have to go your separate ways and go to your homeroom to start your education. So what is everybody doing after the whole ruckus ends and Willow goes off?
First things first, Caleb is, as usual, setting up connections. Making sure, well, I can't really say it like that. I guess people knowing that he's reliable if they need anything.
Okay.
That's just sort of my first thought.
Okay, so you're doing what most other people are doing, except for you are trying to make new connections, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. And then Jimmy and Juke.
I probably try to catch Caleb at some point, find him by his locker or something like that, and I'll dig in my bag and pull out a little cassette tape and hand it to him and be like, hey, I made this for you. It's my summer 96 tape.
Oh, yeah, thanks. It's actually great. I think I'm going to be taking music class, so at least I got some reference.
Oh, yeah. I mean, do you even need it?
You'd be surprised. You all right if we talk after class? Just first, I got to go handle the goober who got herself in trouble amazingly.
Yeah, what was going on with that? That was weird start to the day.
Sure, she just wanted to make an impression, as usual.
She did.
Oh, yeah. Right, yeah. Talk to you after class?
I'll catch you later.
Okay, cool.
And folded up and tucked into the back of the cassette is a piece of paper.
Oh. Caleb's going to check it out.
It's the note that I got with the game board that we had talked about that was supposedly from you.
What is I'm sure I should have this in my notes, but what does it say?
I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was
It said, meet me at our usual place. Bring the game, Caleb.
He's a little confused. Bring the game. Part of him is trying to not make a reaction when he sees the word the game. But he's just going to pocket the note and pocket the cassette tape separately and probably ask Juke what that means, when he sees him after class. Or I guess after school in this case.
We had talked about the note. I had said that there was a note that seemed like it was from you. And that was kind of the last time we talked about anything after the Battle of the Bands.
If I'm being honest, I think he'd still be a little confused.
Sure.
It's hard to tell if this is the exact note, but I think I'll keep that under mind. Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Besides that, Caleb's just going on with his day, trying to get a chance to talk to Willow before school ends.
Okay. Jimmy?
I think one thing Jimmy would like to do, although I think it more catches him by surprise, is he wants to join a club, but he more just meanders by the clubs, and if any stand out to him, he'll look into them.
Oh, for sure. There's a butterfly club. They have some really niche clubs because it's one of those schools where anyone can start a club. Literally anyone. And if you have two people who, it's not like it is now where you need 10 people to sign and you need to do paperwork. You just go, I'd like to start a club and ask people to join.
Squirrel Club wasn't that far off then.
Yeah. So yeah, there's like a butterfly catching club. There is an AV club. There's a good amount of clubs in there, and there's different people standing next to them. And if you just go up to them and be like, "What do you guys do?" They'll tell you all about it. Are you looking for anything in particular?
He's not really looking for anything particular, more just anything that might catch his fancy.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to try and make that decision now, or is that just what you do?
He just kind of chills there for a while. He does want to find Willow, so at some point he'll wander off to see if he can find Willow.
Okay. So you are just meandering. So that's what you guys are doing. Willow, you follow Miss Sanchez. She actually takes you behind the left wing of the school, outside of the school. So like you guys go through an arch and you're on the other side of the building, and she kind of like walks with you, and she walks next to you, and she's just asking you like kind of like general questions, just like, how's your summer been, and how's everything been going on with you and at home, and is everything all right? And I used to get anxiety when I was your age too. You guys are just going, but you're just having a nice conversation as she walks you on the other side of the building, and then it's a metal door that looks like it'd be like a maintenance hatch, or not a hatch, but like a maintenance door that would have like brooms or something behind it. And she takes out a ring of keys. She unlocks it. She opens it, and at first when you look in, it's just pitch black. And it looks like just a pitch black hallway. But she goes in first and flicks open the light. And it is essentially a room that clearly used to be like a maintenance closet, but it has since been kind of transformed. There's like a comfortable couch in the back. It looks like a lounge. There's like a couch in the back. There's like a coffee maker. There's some board games like on the shelf. There's a nice fluffy white like rug. There's a picture of Miss Sanchez, and she is standing next to a huge Newfoundland dog, like really fluffy black dog, and it's like smiling, and it's like a picture of her, and that's on the wall. And she just looks at you and she goes, "Welcome to my sanctuary, and now it's your sanctuary." And she closes the door, and she's just going to give you like a tour of the space, and just make sure that you're all right, essentially. And then that is where we are going to end our session today.
I rolled earlier to see if Willow knew the principal, and then you didn't answer.
What was your roll?
I got a 7 and the DC was 6.
Oh, yeah. So you do recognize the principal. You've seen her around. You know that she's a member of the Harvest Festival Committee. You've seen her like around other like events, and you saw her at like the festival. So you do recognize her. Thank you all for listening. We hope you are enjoying the campaign. Don't forget that you can listen to the podcast on the Aging Journey podcast website, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Links will be in the description below. Don't forget to follow or subscribe. You can also support the podcast on Patreon or join our Discord. Enjoy the journey.